There we go. We are live. No music. No yelling. No booze tripping. Or maybe this is one of those where we should be boozing in. I'm not sure. It's to be determined at the moment. But R.I.P. R.I.P. to the line. And I had to bring in the man, the myth, the legend himself, the legacy of nerd, to talk about it. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm good, man. It's a weird time, but yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. Everything's
It's
totally
fine.
fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I probably should have even announced what's the point of this, but you guys probably saw the thumbnail, and it's an emergency meeting. We had a Hasbro earnings call today, Hasbro report today, but about 2 days ago, or was it Friday? Actually, my days are all a mix. We got the official release statement that the Power Ranger Lightning Collection, sick of all, it's done.
Well, it's not
Maybe.
official yet, but it's very like we're putting dirt on the plot here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I everybody got mad at me for saying it. And it's been said before, right? But like this is the first time I actually like just like it's dead. Like it's
Yeah.
dead, right?
Yeah.
And then everyone got mad at me for saying it, but then literally every other influencer that's Power Rangers related, even Black Nerd Comedy Andre
Yep.
basically said the same thing. Like it's very very highly improbable the Lightning Collection will ever come back in any form,
Yeah.
um, other than maybe like taking advantage of a time and where it might be high up on views or searches or for some whatever reason if there's something going on. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't expect it anytime soon.
Well, we'll get into all of that. We'll get into the Hasbro earnings briefly. But before we do that, let's say hi to everybody in the chat who is pouring in. We have Alana in the house. Good to see you again. This is your second live show in a row. So good to see you. Milady Cat, I think this is your first time on the show. So thank you for joining. Aaron said my communicator went off. I had to jump on and see what's up. So there you go. He knows it. T3 in the house, the two most famous people on one screen. There you go. It's all Daniel. Daniel's a star power here.
Whatever.
We have
My lady cat is soon going to be debuting as an official correspondent for the Legacy of Nerd.
oh,
She'll be part of the team here soon this summer.
there you go. I love that. I love that. KO in the house. Good to see you. You have your neighbor down the street, General Kenobi, in the house. Good to see you. Ranger Restoration and Repair. Good to see you. I think this is your first time on a stream. Sean Metal, hello. I think it's your first time on a stream. So why don't we in case somebody here doesn't know who you are, we'll entertain ourselves. Daniel, who is the legacy of nerd?
Just some idiot.
Some guy.
Some guy who keeps making really bad decisions over and over and over again. Yeah, I mean, I like to follow Power Rangers stuff. Lately, I've been doing a lot more different media stuff. Starting to branch out a little bit more, but I've been following Power Rangers here pretty extensively since a little bit past COVID. When I started the channel, it was initially like a toy hunting channel, but I got bored, so went to something I was more passionate about, and
Yep.
now it's all on fire. But like I said, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah,
So
it's fine.
it's totally fine.
It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, everybody, make sure you give a follow. I will leave the links down below for all of that. And if you're new to Nerd Affiliated, you can find us. I just have Instagram open here. It's not even one of our pages. But if I go to profile, then you'll see our page.
Oh yeah.
Nerd Affiliated here on Instagram. Links to all the latest and greatest we have going on here. But if you're feeling like doing a little bit of busting and you want to bust some ghosts, we got the Real Nerd Busters Instagram page. So if you want to join us over there for some Ghostbusters things, you can do that. Shout out to Ectotech, the official car of the Ghostbuster community, the Ecto 1
Nice.
NJ. So yeah, we got some reports today. We got the official first quarter of Hasbro report, and they did well. They did very well, and this was something that they went a direction that we all were speculating on for a long time, and unfortunately, that's where it's kind of hitting Power Rangers. Um, so, do you want to kind of talk about what I might be alluding to as far as a physical product? I feel like you're on the same wavelength there.
Yeah, I mean, because Monday is when they, the quarterly meeting was coming up, which I had completely lost track of. But ahead on Monday, basically 2 days early, they announced their deal with Playmates, that they had signed over the global toy rights to the Power Rangers brand to Playmates.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't the specifics of that deal weren't really. It was a very broad general statement, but what we got out of it was that uh, while Hasbro is probably not going to say like they're not going to make toys for Power Rangers,
Right.
they're saying that Playmates is going to be the main company that will make toys for Power Rangers, and that that they're going to start with a kid centric line in 2025. But so if Playmate so chooses, they have the rights to do basically anything. So they can do vehicle role play, plushies, action figures, toys, collector items. They have that option to go that route if they want, if they so
Yep.
choose.
Yep.
Uh, and again, and that's not saying that Hasbro will no longer make Power Ranger toys. It's just saying that again, Playmates is going to be the leading part of that. And I released the video me talking about the Lightning Collection is dead. Um, and a lot of the things that I got was like, well, what about McFarlane and stuff like that, and yeah, McFarlane is like a license just like Super 7, just like Super X Apparel, just like Figpin, just like any other license that they gave out,
Mm-hmm.
is McFarlane. But Playmates is going to be the real deal, right? So
Right.
Playmates is going to be the one that takes over. So, a lot of the community outright was just like, and I felt the same way too. Is like, why is a toy company outsourcing toys? Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
it. That's the concern. And now, and for there's the optimistic side, and it has to be said, like we're going to get Power Ranger stuff. That's good. Like
Yep.
that's a good thing. That is, and I'm not saying that's a negative thing. What I'm saying on that end from Hasbro's standpoint is that they've basically said that we don't want to deal with it. You deal with it. You put your own butt on the line. You take the risk of production costs. You take the risk of not pleasing the consumer, consumer risk or whatever. But we are going to collect our royalty fees, and we're going to collect our profit fees from you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is very clear as what they are doing for Power Rangers in general. While at the same time, they said that we are going to continue, you know, steering the way for. We're going to hold on to entertainment rights, and we're going to steer the direction for the brand, which basically means that they are probably going to hire a production company,
Mm-hmm.
and
Again.
they are going
Yep.
to have them write. They're going to license out the film rights, TV rights, whatever it may be, and they're going to have them produce whatever they produce, and then put up the cost, then put up the risk, then put up, you know, whatever risk there is, and again, they just collect the royalty fees, the profit fees, the advertising fees.
Yeah.
So, um, it's kind of it's an interesting thing, and it's a weird time because we got the earnings call today, and it's because we got the earnings call last time, and they were basically saying like, my God, like Peppa Pig and Power Rangers saved us, thank
Yeah.
God, right?
Yeah.
And then this time they were like, well, Power Rangers didn't really live up to what it was supposed to do,
Yeah.
and what they said basically on the earnings call this today specifically about Power Rangers is that Power Rangers does not bring in enough revenue for them to consider doing anything like make products for the brand, right?
Yeah.
So basically said like it's too small of a market where we should be concerned with it, but we own the IP, so why don't we give it to Playmates, or allow Playmates to play with it, and they're better suited to play with it because there are a smaller they deal with smaller IPs, which is dumb. Like it's like that's no, you have Ninja Turtles. Like Ninja
Mm-hmm.
Turtles is probably the one brand that is more recognizable than Power Rangers and kids nostalgia. You know what I mean? So, um, or 80s to 90s nostalgia. So I don't really understand that point of it. But one thing I did bring up in the video is like, and we learned today, one thing I had said earlier was like, it is so easy for them to make a magic card for 75 cents and it be worth $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally, right? Because the
Yeah.
one ring was $1 million, right?
Yeah.
So, or it was more than that. It was like 5 million, right? Um, there is no risk in magic cards. The only thing that they have to, you know, with magic is to make sure that they are keeping the value of their cards, equatable, right? So that's what they're trying to do. I know I got FaceTime, so it's gonna
Yeah.
do weird thing.
Yeah.
I still don't know how it works. I know
Yeah. It
my
happens
kid
like
was
randomly.
yeah, my kid was on FaceTime one time and it started like going fireworks and it made her very happy. So but so it makes more sense to that. And it seemed like they were collecting IPs. And then what did the CEO say today? The CEO said, "We our three things are, and these are in order. We are a game company, we are an IP company, and lastly, we are a toy company."
Mm-hmm.
So they value their own toys less. And it's so funny because they're saying like we can outsource this to Playmates, but at the same time Disney is outsourcing Star Wars and Marvel to them because it is beneath them to make their own action figures for it. There's no profitable measure in their own company, so they give it to Hasbro. So
Mm-hmm.
Hasbro is just another little cog in this thing, and I don't even know if they see that or see the irony of it,
Yeah.
but that's funny to me.
No, it's actually I was gonna play a little clip here. Um,
Good morning. And
let me see if I can get to that spot. I'll switch over to the screen here.
And the rich world building of D&D.
This is the CEO, by the way, doing his opening statement.
I can't wait to build my own. Our success in licensing extends to our toy brands. We saw positive early results in Q1 from Littlest Pet Shop, now manufactured and distributed by Basic Fun. And just this week, we announced a strategic relationship with Playmates to produce and distribute Power Rangers toys starting in 2025. These are high-profit partnerships that leverage great partners with iconic brands from our extensive IP vault.
So it's where the money is. It's somehow
Yeah.
easier, and I the reason I want to do this stream as well is I'm wondering if, to the point of Steve down below, if this ends up being somehow a better thing for us. Like if this ends up somehow working out. My hesitation at the moment is twofold, but I could see where they think there's a solution here. So right now with Playmates, when I was watching that Andre video, Black Nerd Comedy, he immediately pointed out Ninja Turtles. Like Ninja Turtles, they're made by Playmates, all that stuff. And I was kind of judging him because I was like, all right, I know you're a newer collector at this point. Like he did a video the other day with the NECA turtles, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Playmates turtles aren't selling like that, like where they're like a hot commodity. Like any time you go to Walmart, you're gonna see the pegs overloaded with Playmates movie turtles. This movie specifically,
Yeah.
whereas NECA is different. NECA, those turtles, now they're starting to shelf warm because like everybody has pretty much been able to get them over the last couple of years. Like they've done a bunch of re-releases, so that's why. But a year ago, even movie turtle 2-pack was gone instantly in stores.
Yeah.
So Playmates isn't to me the stronger turtle company of all of them, but they and all these franchises need to try to get kids back into play. And I could see where they're like, all right, well, Playmates will be the route. Like we'll easily do that with them. But I don't see it. I don't think kids are gonna jump on board with, you know, a retro looking Power Ranger toy, without a show to accompany it.
That's going to be hard. That's the part that's going to be hard. And well, I know, and it needs to be said that kids still drive the toy business, right? So,
Right.
we
And
get
sorry,
Marvel.
not I hate to interrupt you, but if anybody doubts that statement, listen to the earnings call. Every single earnings call, adult collector stuff is mentioned maybe one time in passing. It's always the kids stuff. It's always the Furbies. It's always the Play-Doh, Monopoly Go. All that stuff is always top of mind. Adult collecting, HasLabs, all that kind of stuff never comes up. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, and people say like, you know, I don't see kids playing with toys anymore. I see them on the tablet or on the phone. And while, that's true to a certain age, like kids still play with toys and kids still want toys, whether they are playing with it nonstop or not. You know what I mean? So I have a little one right now that will watch Miss Rachel and play with her little Eggies, that little toys that we got her. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
she is very much, and I understand she's 1 year old, but she's also about to hit that demographic of what kids with playing toys are right now, right? So now Playmates, I do believe like Playmates can make a good kid centric Power Ranger toys. Like I don't think that's an issue, and I don't think that's a bad thing either, right? If kids are interested in something, and that will further drive the marketing, right? So if say they launch this without a show, but toy sales are good, right, and kids seem to be interested in this, it's going to drive them to probably restart some sort of media, right? And my biggest thing with Power Rangers here, because we did have a kids toy line with the TV shows, right? But we also had a kids toy line that kind of debuted like right before COVID, and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of fizzled out. Like they had several little toys that they were playing with. Wasn't Play School, because Play School was under Saban, but it was another one I can't think of at the moment. But they were making little stuff for kids to play with, and that's when the line was like really doing well with especially Lightning Collection. Like
Mm-hmm.
we were getting a lot of stuff in the Lightning Collection, but there was a lot of kids stuff for them to buy too. And then we kind of ran after COVID, and after COVID, it's just Lightning Collection and some of those like retro stuff that they were putting out, like the weird flip heads, or basically that's it. Like some of the standalone figures that the 30th anniversary Mighty Morphin that they kind of made, but that was still kind of a collector item too. um I'm always been under I've always wanted, like, for the brand, like, if they're going to do something for my generation, they need to be doing something simultaneously for kids, right? Like that is it's what Marvel does. Like it's what Marvel does, it's what DC does. It is what every big IP does. Even Ninja Turtles is getting ready. They've had kid-centric shows, movies. I know the last movie was kind of weird in the middle, but they've always had something on media for kids and
Mm-hmm.
something a little bit more for adults, right? But now we're even going to get more in adults with the last Ronin movie that's going to come out. So that's really because we've had all this kid centric stuff to be able to build up to justify this last Ronin movie, to be like, okay, we can do that now because we've made this much interest here. We can do this now for the parents or for the longtime fans, right?
Yeah.
And you can say with the Michael Bay movies, whatever they are to you, but like the movies did relatively well, and they sparked relative interest, and they didn't kill the brand, right? So they even some would say they even moved the brand forward, whether it be in different ways with cartoons or going back to animation or just retooling, right? So um, just the Stephen Amell as Casey Jones might have been the weirdest part of it. That's the only thing. But I love Stephen Amell. I don't want to talk down on him, but that was an interesting casting choice. But that's the thing. Like, if you're going to, we do have to be under the idea that kids will drive this forward, and that is something about Power Ranger that hasn't been lost in 30 years, and that's why Power Rangers hasn't been off the air in 30 years until this year. So my thing specifically with Power Rangers is that right now there doesn't seem to be any direction on where the brand is going to go, or they're giving us any direction of where the brand is we're going to go. And when you have an instilled fan base, as niche as we may be, we've also been around for 30 years.
Yeah.
So like, some sort of direction, you know what I mean? Like, even if you tell me they're going to have like one of those like, Marvel little type kid shows, and it's gonna be a Power Ranger type kid show, good. Okay, good. That
Yeah.
means you're doing something. You're building on top of it or something, right? And it's gonna go to more. I mean, I remember they before they started Guardians of the Galaxy movie, they started putting out cartoons before the movie came out,
Yeah.
putting the characters in those little kids shows. Some of them, the animated shows were a little bit, more for older kids, but they were already, pushing it like we're gonna do this, but we're gonna make sure we build, the character recognizable, the recognizable of the character, so when the film debuts, like people know who these characters are, right? And even with like Spider-Man and X-Men and Wolverine, like I don't know if you remember that TV show with the little Marvel superheroes where their heads
Yeah.
were really big,
Uh-huh.
like they were introducing characters all the time, and then what happened? All those characters started showing up in the movies, like TV shows, Marvel, Disney Plus shows or whatever. Like you gotta use a framework of like you always have to have something out, and then we find out today like the comic book might be ending, or yesterday, like so you're pushing. Not only that, you're pulling away the last piece of media that you have altogether. Like, oh my god, man, it's just
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear, like I've heard so many different things about it. Like I even reached out to like people that who know things, right? And
Mhm.
like I'm not entirely sure, but I'll ask around and stuff like that. And what I'm hearing right now is that I don't know if the Boom and Power Rangers Hasbro brand has parted ways, or they're taking a break to coincide with this pause, or what is going on. But my thing is that what I'm getting is they're probably going to stop all the books. I know a lot of fans got mad at me because they don't like that news, but
Yeah.
I can't help what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. We'll find out more in San Diego Comic-Con, where they're saying they're going to have big announcements, but I'm really afraid that those big announcements are like, we're getting the special variant cover from Jim Lee. Can you believe that? Like something like crazy, art wise, and not necessarily like future wise. And that's what I don't want to build up any hope that there's going to be more when there will not be. A lot of the writers and a lot of the people behind the scenes at Boom basically wrote obituaries yesterday, uh, and it's kind of. I mean, if they come back later on and say, "Oh, we're going to Zio," which I'd be really surprised about, I think that would almost hurt them just as much as might help them. So that's the only thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Comic books in itself is its own can of worms. I feel like
Yeah.
at this point, like it's, I forget how the topic came up, but on one of the shows, I was mentioning how a lot of us are in this super niche when it comes to the nerd stuff. Like, to the extent that we're watching videos about, like, those of you watching this video right now are like in such a niche portion of the fandom that for as much as yelling and whatever as we do, it doesn't translate. It doesn't grab the main audience, the casual audience, which is what you need and who you need in order to be successful.
Right.
I don't think there are casual Power Ranger fans out there that even knew Boom Studios was making comic books, because they're just not buying comic books. It's just not a
No.
media that is doing well relative to the field. And I think to your point, and it's something I was thinking about as I was listening to the call and reading stuff, it's like at a certain point, making content and figures that we like as adult collectors almost is like a passion project for these lines, these companies.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, if you look here, again, Hasbro did well, almost top to bottom on the call and in the report. But if you're looking here at revenue and then their operating profit, if something's in parentheses, that means it's a loss. So they won't be a positive or negative. It's just parentheses is loss, no parentheses profit. Consumer products, the physical stuff, is the only place they keep getting dinged outside the fact that they gave up on the studio that they had bought, the E1 or whatever it was called. But, when it comes to the figures and things that we collect, because these are not super mainstream, because there's no adjacent kids anything, that's not able to offset the losses they're getting on selling us another Power Ranger helmet, because there's only so many of us are buying the helmets, so many of us buying Lightning Collection. They don't have the cheap Power Ranger line that's selling ridiculous amounts to offset that kind of cost. And even I just did a search. I was searching for Power Rangers in their report, in the presentation. I mean, it doesn't come up once, other than when he verbally said, we sold off that license. But with them, it's the same ones. Transformers. Every time you turn around, Transformers, Peppa Pig, Play-Doh, Nerf. All these things that cost so little to them to make at this point, that all the casuals, all the kids buying the stuff, and they keep referencing Rise of the Beast. They continue to reference that movie to this day because so many kids were hyped for that movie and buying the stuff that was offsetting us adult collectors who would be buying these things.
Yeah.
That's why these labels keep coming out.
And I think someone brought in your comments like, we're still getting, good things from 3-0 and questionable. I think they said Super 7 or something, which I find questionable. But, those are premium things, right? Those aren't mass marketed items, right? So like that is, like this was on niche. Like this is $120 item. Like this is not something like I can go into Walmart and buy, right? Like that's the point is to be able to be mass marketed. Now, Lightning Collection is one of those things where, Lightning Collection, Marvel Legends, Black Series, those are one of those things where it's almost kind of like teetering on whether it could be a kid's toy or a collector item.
Right.
But the problem is one, the price, obviously, the price used to be $19, where it could be like, oh, okay, you can get one, right? To now, you're getting close to $30 for a figure. And it's like, well, why don't you go, maybe this $10 one over here instead? You know what I mean? So that's where it starts to deviate from where you could make the assumption that some kids were buying Lightning Collection, Marvel Legends, Spider-Man, this and that, right? But it makes it harder and harder if you're going to raise the price for that collector line to be mass marketed as something that at any consumer would be interested in, right? So I've seen kids pick up Marvel Legends, but I saw kids pick up Marvel Legends when they were $18.99, $19.99 at Target, right? Like I have not seen a kid I've never seen so many Marvel Legends Black Series. I remember there was a time where I would never see any Black Series on the pegs whatsoever, and I mean like a good year or two. And then we, to the price hikes and the decisions, of not windowless and stuff like that. And I could probably go pick up whatever figure that you want the most at Target right now, right? So, but the thing with those is that those have supporting media, and that's the big deal. Like you gotta have the supporting media to make it more desirable, and that's not something that is going on with Power Transformers. Has always had, I don't know how many freaking lines there are of Transformers. Like it's not something that I collect or really have much info on, but like it seems there's like 6 different lines of Transformers at the store right now. But Transformers has also been in theaters and on TV consistently since 2003, like 2003ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I was working at the movie theater, so I remember I was still in high school at that time when the first one came out. But that has been consistent for 20 years, where they've been able to market it towards children and adults at the same time, and not have any really longer than Marvel, because Marvel didn't even start till 2007, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they say Transformers is their big deal, but at the same time, like you have GI Joe. Yeah. And G.I. Joe is your 70-year line that's had multiple iterations, has so much history, lore, and nostalgia. And my grandpa probably, not my grandpa because my people are old, but like a lot of people's grandpas probably collected GI Joes or had a GI Joe, right? So my father was a grandfather now. Like he had GI Joes. He likes GI Joe, and you continue to like ignore that as well. Like, you know what I mean? I say, okay, we got the classified series, and yes, the classified series is great, but what else? You know what I mean? Like, what else are you doing? You know what I mean? You had Snake Eyes. I have never finished that movie. I started watching it 1 year ago and I never finished it. So there's no cartoon. There's no was it Bic that did the cartoons? I can't think of the company.
Or Deke. It was a Deke.
Deke, yeah, Deke. Yeah. So, I'm thinking of the lighters or something.
Yeah.
But like you've got to support your mediums, and they don't seem to do that. Like, that's strange to me, and I don't know why. And you can't even make the argument for Star Wars and Marvel because they don't do it. And not only that, they are so out of the loop that they can't have product come out when it is ready to come out for the big surprise. Oh, surprise! Tobey Maguire was in the movie. We don't have no Tobey Maguire figures for a year and a half. Mm-hmm. Like, come on, like, you're not in the loop. You're not that cool with Disney that they value you to to bring you in and to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's just funny because they're their own playmates. Like, I don't know if they see that or not.
I mean, I wanted to show what Steve was talking about. He's talking about the Ace toys here, which on eBay is of course inflated, but
those are the unlicensed ones. Yeah,
going for crazy money. I mean, again, this is niche. This isn't.
Well, that factory also got raided. That made those. Yeah, so like those are China. They're technically bootlegs, right? But they're really nice bootlegs. They're really, really, really nice bootlegs. Mm-hmm. But that the Chinese government came and raided the factory, so they don't. That's why they go for ridiculous. Because they're good figures, but they're just their Ace is not making stuff anymore. I don't think.
Oh, well, there you go.
Or at least not under that name or brand.
Well, I mean, but that even again proves the point of it's so niche that like they're not doing anything with it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of unlicensed Power Ranger stuff coming out like right now, which is really strange. Like a lot. Usually we might get like 1 or 2 a year. That is not a big deal, but I think there's like 7 or 8 like premium figures that are unlicensed that are coming out here soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the G.I. Joe one is one of the. This is one of the ones where I wish somebody on these calls was a collector, like somebody who watches that side of the industry needs to be on the calls to ask the question, because G.I. Joe is a line that continues to sell out. HasLabs continue to back almost instantly, and yet not worthy enough and not revenue driving enough to earn a spot on the call anywhere. And then like, all right, so this must prove that point. Once again, these kinds of lines are like passion projects. We're supposed to make toys. We're going to make things that we know people are going to buy. It's going to make a little bit of money. It's enough to like cover the department existing, but in a blink of an eye, we'll get rid of this thing if we really had to.
It's almost like they're using the collector lines to fill the gaps that they don't have right now. Like they're like, okay, let's just do this. We're not going to make very many of them, right? In relation to how much we would make if it was aimed towards children.
Yeah.
But, we'll make enough. And that way there's always something on the peg that's G.I. Joe, or always something on the peg that is Power Rangers and stuff like that. The only exception is Transformers, because Transformers just has way too much stuff out there right now, and I don't even know if that's good for them or not. Like that, I don't even know if everyone's collecting every single thing over there. But like the collector lines are no. And the thing what people don't understand about Hasbro as well is that Hasbro doesn't make announcements that lines are ending. They just say bye. Like they just say, oh, they don't even say bye. They're just like, nothing's coming out this year or next year or the year after that. You know what I mean? So like,
you guys keep asking about this, so we'll tell you this is what's going on.
I don't think they've ever really formally announced that a line was done. I mean, they never announced Fortnite was done. So, Why would they announce this? And why would they want to? Because
Mhm.
if they do, there's always the consumer like, well, I'll come back if they, once they put something out, and I'll just wait. And it's just like, okay, well, at least I have an instilled base that will come back when I'm ready to. But if they end it and we go start collecting another line or collecting another product, or you know, taking that money out of our budget, then they can't come back at any point.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I mean, I've been saving so much money this year on toys, like it's ridiculous. Because all I do right now is just buy stuff at Ross and Ollie's for giveaways, or maybe just to hold on to something, right? So like,
Mhm.
my whole, I know people think I'm like about, I'm a big giveaway channel, but I never spend something more than like $10 or $12 on something. And if I
Right.
do spend something more, that is a very planned thing. So like,
Yeah.
that's neat. And the discount things too, like they're almost like, we're glad the discount thing happened. Like it cleared out our warehouses.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because I don't think people realize, oh, Hasbro lost so much money because I bought this, you know, $25 figure for $6 at Ross. That figure was already paid for. That was not Hasbro losing the money. That was Target losing the money. That
Mhm.
was that was GameStop. That was, Big Bad Toy Store, that all they put on these pallets for these discount sale toys, or discount stores to buy. Like that was them recouping whatever money they could off of
Mhm.
that on the retail.
Mhm.
Hasbro already made their money. The only thing that Hasbro may have to worry about is, for the retailers not to make as big of an order
Order.
for the
Yeah.
next quarter.
Yeah.
But even then, Hasbro's like, well, we're going to adjust warehouse inventory, so they're not even going to be making as much product. So that's not even going to affect them. So essentially, the retailers are going to buy up all their product anyway. So it doesn't really affect how they did it, because last quarter they made a very big point to say that we are going to minimize production, and we're going to minimize warehouse inventory.
Yeah.
And the discount thing was like almost like the best thing that could have happened to them. And they had to take a little bit of like, oh, you guys are getting your butt slapped, and they're just like over there laughing like, yeah, but we like it. You know what I mean? So like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm ranting too long, so I'm
No.
apologizing. I'm not getting a chance to
But
talk.
again, this is like intelligent thought. Like this isn't like, and I say that not to toot our own horns, but it's literally right here. Like Hasbro owned inventory down 53% versus the prior year,
Yeah.
including a 57% decline in customer products inventory versus the first quarter 2023. So everybody who's like, oh, like no, like I'm it's gonna keep this is gonna keep going. This whole Ross thing is gonna keep going.
Yeah.
It's not. It happened because there was this overproduction. Everybody started to wait. People were just buying shit up to flip it. And then now that they caught wind, well, they caught wind of that. You could assume that was probably a year ago. They caught wind of it. So they're like, okay, slow down. Let's really control what's going out and see what happens. And as I mentioned the other day, they didn't do a warehouse sale this quarter. They've been doing warehouse
Yeah.
sales every quarter, it seems like, for the last year. All of a sudden, we didn't have any. We have the outlet section, but that's
Yeah.
different from the warehouse sale. And that's
Doesn't the
because,
outlet section almost look like when they find stuff, because it's so random when things come
yeah,
up? Like, it's just like, oh, we found like 3 cases of this. Let's put it up
yeah,
here.
for
Like
sure.
it's so random what goes up on that outlet stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But
It's just like
what's,
the HasLab thing. And it was like, we found
oh, yeah,
one
yeah.
one proton pack and 3 strikers. Let's call it open the vault. Like,
You know what I figured out on that one? That was probably proton packs they had extra for doing the movie because they used
yeah,
HasLabs in the movie. So they had a bunch of extras for the movie. Probably didn't need to use them, and they're like, "Oh, we found these extra ones." That's
yeah.
probably where those came from.
Like, we need
Um,
that shelf.
yeah, but even I'm looking at these Ghostbuster figures here. These things sold out a couple times on the website, and they come back. Um, the other one I was looking at earlier was Wolverine. Here, he
Is
was
there a
sold out.
Superior Spider-Man now?
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
Him and Wolverine came out same day this week. Both sold out, and now Wolverine's back. So they're definitely controlling the production. They're like, all right,
Yeah.
let's do 1,000. All right, that sold out. Let's do another 1,000. That sold out. All right, let's try 200 this time.
And they've been doing that since, like, for the exclusives, like for at least a couple years now, right? Or like this, whether it be the PulseCon or San Diego or whatever exclusive that they have,
But I want them to do more of that example you're saying. I want more of that, where when the pre-order happens, it's not even a pre-order. We made a 500 piece run up for sale. The second it sells out, now it goes into pre-order. Now it goes into, we're going to do another run. Do you want in on the next run?
That I want. With the Master Mover, it was interesting because there was like 4 waves that first 2 days or something like that. So it was the in stock. It was the first pre-order. I call it pre-order A because that was coming out like they had already had some in production already, and then they had like a pre-order B, and then that was like they had to wait a little bit longer, and then I think there was a third. No, I take that back. There was only 3 that first weekend. So they had 3, in stock, 1 pre-order date, and then a second later pre-order date. Remember, people were freaking out like, "Oh, I need to get my pre-order." Like, no, because you ordered it in that second wave. After it sold out, and they put it back up again. First, it sold out for the second time. But then we got, on JDF's birthday, conveniently the same day they released the Valaverse Legend of the White Dragon figures. They put up another run. So I really, and I think I've seen them do that with Mindbender. With G.I. Joe.
Yes. Yep.
Supreme Cobra Commander. Zartan. They did that with Zartan. I'm trying to think of
Serpentor on the sled.
Which one? Yes,
Serpentor
you're right. Yep. But they only did 2 of those. They only did 2 waves of those.
Yeah.
Which I thought was strange. But they were also really expensive. There was like $79 for that one. Remember, I was pissed off buying exclusives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think it's just been G.I. Joe because I don't really follow Transformers to know if they did something similar with that over there as well. But I'm sure that they did, right? So, and Marvel Legends, I don't feel like Marvel Legends has that sort of like premium event item that they usually been having, pre-2020 or pre-2021. So it had just been mostly like, G.I. Joe and Power Rangers. What was strange about Power Rangers is like when we would have nothing, right? Announced, say like, San Diego Comic-Con. Oh, we don't have a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive this year or whatever. And I remember, was it not this last year, but maybe the year before, they're like, oh, okay, we're just going to release the metallic White Ranger and we have them in stock ready to go.
Yeah.
We're like, what? Like we're the only we're the only brand to have in stock items that were sent to us for San Diego Comic-Con. We're like, what the heck is going on? But, those are the days that I miss. I think those were the fun days, the we don't know what's going on situation, like, and because Hasbro could get things in house pretty well as far as when it's their stuff and it being exclusively sold by them. But those days are far behind us.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Let me see that Wolverine. I haven't seen that Wolverine yet.
Yeah,
let me see that. Oh, that's nice. I like that.
No, this is a grab. This one I'm waiting for in store.
Oh, it's $25.
I mean, if I have a whole bag here of, was it IDW Turtles? All 4 of them, $15 a piece on clearance at Walmart. Like you said earlier, $10, $15 price range. I'll snag a whole wave just on a, maybe I'll open it. Maybe it's for me or maybe I'll trade it. I don't even know, but it's worth grabbing it because what's $15? But
I mean, being realistic, if you buy like 4 $15 figures, that's what, $60, right? That's eating at home for 3 days with you and your wife, right? So like that's making sure you don't eat out and eating at home more. Where if you spend $4 figures for $25 a piece, that's $100, and then you're like, oh, that's triple digits, man. Like then tax and stuff like that. That's like, I don't know about that. But if you can keep everything consistently under 2 digits, people are going to be like, well, I can probably make that work. You know what I mean? So like, it's when you start getting to the hundreds and just be like, it's not, waves are not possible. Like, I don't even know how people do Marvel Legend, Build-A-Figure waves anymore. Like, it seems like ridiculously too much. All those figures are $24.99. And, I don't know if people are just waiting for the bat. I know they're just stealing them too, but like, but that seems even harder to do. Like, it's really, really, like it's almost like a really, really weird time for collectors right now. But again, like you said, we're niche. We're not the concern. So
well, just do digital build figures like Tom McFarlane's doing, where it's not even a real toy. Well, the last question I'll ask you before we wrap today, and again, thanks for jumping on last minute. T3 asked, do you both think now that Hasbro's done with the Lightning collection that it will drive up the value in all the figures?
Yes and no. The value is going to drop off. Deadlines don't do good initially, so I think the figures are all going to take a dip on that because there's no incentive to keep collecting.
Right.
But when you get a couple years away from it, is when people are like, "Well, we never got Lightspeed Blue. I really want that one." You know what I mean? And that's where it's like, okay, that figure was once $25 retail. You can maybe sell it for $40 or something like that. And we're seeing a little bit with that, with the legacy figures, like a little bit, and it's mostly Tommy centric stuff. Yeah. But what we see that more with is with the role play items, and we'll probably see that more with the role play items like the morphers, the if I have it right here, the Blue Ranger Power Lance, the Yellow Ranger Power Daggers, things that have never been produced for high end, collectors. Those things I think will go up in value. Which is really weird because they basically kind of like put the nails in their own coffin, but they put up that restock for the Morpher up on Entertainment Earth the other day, which is just like random. So I don't know if that's their plan, like to just like, okay, we're gonna throw up random restocks of things that we know that will sell really well and just be done with it. But I don't know. I mean, they re-released the White Ranger helmet, the Red Ranger helmet, and the Dragon Dagger just this last when they released it, because I know everybody was calling me, telling me I was making up stuff, and then they released and they were like, oh, I'm sorry.
It was on the website right now. It was this past month actually is when they both.
They started shipping. I know the Dragon Dagger started shipping, and the White Ranger helmet started shipping like 2 months ago. Yeah. But yeah, again, those are items that people wanted and that were out of production, especially the White Ranger helmet. Like that was a big item. So I don't know if that's their plan going forward to kind of just restock on certain things they know will sell well, but we'll see. I kind of just think they're just going to leave it alone. Why? I mean, what's the need to do it? And they can, if say like, even for example, that Playmates decides to release some sort of role play, whether it be kid centric or, collector grade, they're not going to compete with their own royalty checks. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. I think if they, if they do want to go the route of a role play, I would want them to go back the direction of the legacy line. Like the diecast stuff was just so mint. And in it, that question about going up in value, I think this line is the exception. First of all, Minomorphin is usually the exception to everything, but the Bandai stuff was just so good. Like so
yes
good.
And no.
So you didn't like them all?
No, I didn't like them all.
Really?
But like there's exceptions. So like the Morphers were beautiful, right? And the Dragon Dagger is really nice. I mean, I have them. The blade. I don't have the Blade Blaster. All those things are really nice, but again, those were marketed towards collectors, and they were higher prices at that time. I remember passing on a Legacy Morph for $50 because I was like, I think I can get it cheaper.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yes.
I mean, it's at that, like, yes, in the time, like, now we look back at it, and we're like, oh man, that stuff was so good. But at the time, those things weren't necessarily, going off the shelves, right? They, that you can still find probably some of them for like under $200, which is ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like the legacy figures were very weird proportioned and very weird sized. And in the Bandai stuff that was like meant for kids was like, it was crud, dude. Like it was really bad stuff. So while I say, well, a lot of people look back at Bandai and they go, oh man, like that was a really good time. And I was like, well, it depends, right? Like it depends what you're talking about. So the Morpher was great. Some of the Megazords were great, but hey, the Thunder Megazord, those knees were buckled and people's legs were snapping off because it was too much weight. Same thing when they did with the Megazord and turned into the Mega Dragon, the Mega Dragon Zord. They weren't made initially to withstand that weight, so they were selling, giving brackets away at one point so that your legs didn't snap on your Megazords. You know, I wouldn't say like the Morpher and the Dragon Dagger, the Blade Blaster, and the
Power
Red
Sword.
Ranger, the Power Sword were the ones where people were like, those were really good, right? Like those are really, really good. Or even the Zeonizer and the Gold Ranger staff, like, and the Communicator, like those things. But those were like the more expensive items. Like the Communicator was $50. The Morpher was $50. I know you're saying like right now, oh my god, it's $50. Like I would totally pay that in a second.
Now
but
you
people
would.
were paying that in a second back then. They were like,
what was that, 2000? Like I think I graduated college at that point, so like 2009, 10, somewhere in there.
I mean, it was like 2010 to 2016, 17 when those things were being.
Toys R Us was still a thing.
Yeah, so
that's where you have to go to get them.
Yeah, and because I remember the movie was still out. The movie 2017 movie came out, so it was at least until 2017, right? But those things were constantly on the shelves. Titanus was always on the shelves, like always there. And now people even want the black and gold one, and then no one wanted that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just looking back in hindsight, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I have all that stuff. I love the Legacy Morpher. I think it looks really pretty on a shelf. Again, it's not show accurate. That's the thing. Like,
that is true.
It's not show accurate. You know, the Dragon Dagger, while it's really pretty and looks good on a shelf, it's not show accurate. Like, you know what I mean? The weirdly enough, then we got the more show accurate stuff from Hasbro.
Yeah. You make really compelling points.
See, like, it's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. But that thing was what, $100?
Yeah, 120 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like those weren't mass marketed items. Those were specialty items. But you go look back at their Ninja Steel wave for Power, and like you don't even know what. Because I know you even know what Power Rangers Ninja Steel is, but like that toy line was crap. You know what I mean? Like it kind of started going down with Megaforce after Megaforce. It started going downhill. Just wasn't good. And look at their stuff now. Look at those Stranger Things figures. Did you pick up any of them?
No.
Those are Bandai.
No. The price point at those, if I remember, these are the ones that are like $60, I think. Am I thinking the same ones?
Which ones?
The Stranger Things ones, the like 6-inch.
Oh, I think they were probably like 30. I don't think they were 60. I think they were maybe around 30. But they were hideous, dude. They were ugly.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear. There's a big distinction between Bandai America and Bandai Japan. Okay, so there is a big difference in quality. And while the molds might be the same, they are not complete copies of what they would do. So say we did get like Sentai stuff from that they're making for Bandai Japan right now for Boom Boomger or whatever they're calling it, the one with the tires on their head. Yeah. You know, if they bring that over to America and sell that through Bandai America, it's not going to be the same quality stuff that they're getting in Japan. It's always been different.
Yeah, these are terrible.
Yeah,
you're right. $30. Yeah, I don't know what I saw. Like that was like 60, but like even these things
here, it was a monster or something. There were some bigger figures.
This is horrible. My little cousin's collecting these. I got her some of them on like super duper clearance 2 years ago, I think. But I was like, oh my god! I'm like, this is awful.
There's a big stack of those. The 11 with the shaved head.
Oh yeah.
And at our Ollies, there's a bunch, like 12 of them or 20 of them, right next to the NBA lineup figures.
Yeah, it's wild. But we'll see. You know, I think that at this point, all we can do is be optimistic. Something new.
Yeah.
It's a new chapter. You know, this could be the Ben Affleck Batman news or the Heath Ledger Joker news, where it's like, oh my god, like the hell, what are we doing here? And then all of a sudden, we're removing Lightning Collection and putting Playmate stuff up. So
yeah, I mean that's real. We're having stuff come out. That's good. We don't have anything really coming out right now, unless you're like buying $120 figures, and most people aren't. So
yeah,
that's something to look forward to 2025. Just we'll see about that reboot that we keep hearing about that we don't hear about. So yeah.
That could be a conversation for another day right there.
Oh my god, so much! I got so much crap on that video, and I literally said the same thing as like 12 other YouTubers. But yeah, I said it. So yeah,
I tell you, if you stick around long enough, for all of you in the chat, if you make a channel and you stick around long enough, you'll find the hate comes right at you. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
But to Legacy's point, if you want to complete some lines or some teams, you can get some good prices. I mean, this yellow Thunder Ranger, I remember I bought her full price because she was the last one I
Yeah.
needed. But if you hadn't even started that line, there you go, $14 for something there. Alien Rangers at 60. The In Space 24.
I would say if you those remastered figures, if you haven't bought them, they just announced they're ending production on them. They're not making any more of them.
There you go.
So I would really recommend you pick those up. Even the yellow and black one, which are the ones that didn't sell very well,
Right.
are harder and harder to find. So at least at a decent price. So I definitely look at those. You're probably not going to get a green, or you're not going to get a green or red Ranger at retail at this point. You're probably looking at $100. So some things are starting to go up in price. But like if you're like for me, like that Pink Ranger, it was $12 the other day. So I went ahead and picked up Kendrick's, and I'm just waiting for some of the other ones because I mean I'm you can see all this, you expect me to finish the line, and if the price is right, I will finish the line, but I'm not in any sort of hurry.
No. Yeah. I think the one thing maybe I might finally pull the trigger on this, but I really want the Legacy one. That's
The which one? The sword?
Yeah.
Oh, that one's Lightning Collection though.
No, it is. Yeah. And what's what I'm saying, like this one, I'm tempted to get it, but I really, really, really want the Legacy one. So that's where
that sword is a $220 sword, and it's $109 right now.
Yeah.
So if you want the Legacy one, but you're afraid of price right now, I would just get that. That way you have something, and then because that sword is going to be, $400 in 3 years, just the same thing as the Legacy one is.
Yeah, for sure.
And that one does the cool lights up. I think that's so cool. I was just like,
it does. I remember when they announced that, and I was like, all right, that's pretty dope. That's
a neat feature. I like that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who joined that came over from the Legacies side of the pond. I really appreciate it. We had a couple other comments in here about the reboot. Raheem said, "Where did you get that Lost Galaxy Pink?" You said Ollie's?
Oh, no, I got it on Amazon. It was one of the. I keep everything in my watch list, and then if it goes down to a price I like, I just buy.
Yeah.
So that one went down to $12, and I bought it.
There you go. Johnny says, "I'm hoping for the Omega Rangers 3-0 figures." Yeah. That'd be cool, but I doubt it.
I mean, it'll take a while to get there. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's not possible, but I mean, 3-0 did make a point to say that they had all the license to everything, so they could make any Ranger, any character for Power Rangers. So they did make that point. So we'll see.
I feel like with them, they'd have to stay in that realm of the OG team. So as far as advancing teams, maybe you get to Turbo and then call it a day. But then
I think if they do Turbo, it's just going to be Tommy, and that's it.
Yeah.
And even Omega, I would say Omega Rangers had a chance if the comics still go. That maybe if there's nothing out there to support it.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Because they're on outlet right now on the Hasbro site. So
yeah,
not moving. But you have anything coming up that you want to plug before we wrap?
Sort of. I guess I have NostalgiaCon coming up. That is coming up May 10th through 12th. I will be there. I have a section. I'll be there.
Nice.
I'll have former AEW champion Thunder Rosa will be in my section on Friday. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will have Philip Andrew, the Lunar Wolf Ranger. And then on Saturday only, I will have Tracy Lynn Cruz, the Yellow In Space Turbo Ranger. And then I'll be doing the Power Rangers panel, of course, that's Saturday. But yeah, we'll be out there. If you're interested in going, and you're in the San Antonio area, or you're going to fly down, definitely want to fly down. There's probably like 60 guests total. There's going to be a complete Yu-Gi-Oh! Original cast reunion, a complete Pokemon original cast reunion. There's going to be just so many voice actors, Power Rangers. Jason Page is going to be there. I hear he's quite a character, so I'll totally be ready. I'll totally be ready for that. And then yeah, and then on that Friday on May 10th, we I guess my brand specifically will be hosting the after party at the Pat O'Brien's, which is like a 10-minute walk from NostalgiaCon. So we'll be there from 8 to 2 a.m. Trying not to die.
Because we're getting old, man. He's like,
Yeah.
wait, after 9 p.m. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a day for sure.
man,
Oh yeah, Digimon reunion. We're having a Digimon reunion too.
I mean, I said it before. You guys are killing it down there in Texas. You got freaking cons.
So tired, Archer.
it's just time to go down there. I think I have to do it. I can't put it off any longer. So yeah, everybody make sure you check out Legacy of Nerd everywhere. And of course, NostalgiaCon if you're going to be down in the San Antonio area. So I was going to hit the music, but it wasn't that show, so I don't have to hit the music. But thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks for listening. Tomorrow night, 8:15-ish p.m., we have Hey Archer Live. Monday morning, I got to get you saying this, 8 a.m.-ish, 7:45, 8 a.m.-ish. We have Nerdy Coffee. Two different shows, two different vibes. Either way, you're stuck with this guy. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. RIP, pour one out for the Lightning Collection.
So I guess
We're out of here.